Adrian Newey and Lawrence Stroll might be heading into rough waters during their very first year of working together, as reports suggest tensions are beginning to brew between the two. Stroll, who is shelling out a hefty $33 million a year for Newey's genius, is pushing hard for immediate results. However, the British mastermind seems to have a rather polarizing plan in mind. He's almost entirely ignoring the 2025 car and has poured all his focus into the 2026 project. This raises a big question. Will Stroll eventually demand even bigger changes from him down the road? And, even more worryingly, did he make a critical mistake by appointing Newey as Aston Martin's technical partner? One thing is crystal clear. Lawrence Stroll is among the most driven and aggressive team owners the sport has ever seen. This is a man renowned for getting what he wants, someone who refuses to take no for an answer when tough decisions need to be made. His commitment to pushing forward, regardless of the cost, is unquestionable. But even the toughest moguls hit a wall sometimes, and Newey's stance could prove to be one of Stroll's biggest headaches yet. Aston Martin's technical chief is laser-focused on cracking the 2026 regulation changes and building a car capable of dominating that new era, a strategy that might jeopardize the team's prize money for this season. As it stands, Aston Martin has scored a grand total of just 10 points, all thanks to Lance Stroll, leaving Fernando Alonso stuck in an increasingly precarious spot. Even Alonso himself has admitted that fans shouldn't expect many updates anytime soon, confirming that the squad's attention has completely shifted to 2026, a reality that could seriously frustrate Stroll. Sure, there's a silver lining. If the team ends up outside the top 5 in the constructors' standings, they'll gain extra wind tunnel time, which could help Newey craft a monster of a car. But the flip side is brutal. Losing out on the prize money is a bitter pill no team wants to swallow. Alonso was blunt after Jeddah, saying, "We really need a big step forward. We finished P11 mostly because Tsunoda and Gasly collided on the opening lap and Liam had a 10-second penalty. Otherwise, we would have been P14. It's a long road ahead. P1 feels like a world away right now. We have to adapt to this reality. Scoring points this year will be a real battle." And that's not just talk, it's a glaring red flag for Aston Martin. They're currently the only team on the grid to have dropped significantly in performance compared to their 2024 form in Jeddah, sparking calls from the media to revive last year's car. Behind the scenes, it's believed the team urgently gathered at Silverstone for an emergency meeting, but Newey was nowhere to be seen. Andy Cowell, offering a bit more insight into the situation, mentioned how disconnected Newey seems to be, admitting that the legendary engineer avoids meetings, rarely answers emails, and is fully absorbed in building the fastest machine for 2026. According to Aston Martin's team boss, he's just focused on the next car, and we're backing him 100%. Still, the underlying feeling in the paddock is that Newey has flat-out refused to invest any energy into anything other than the 2026 Challenger, a view strengthened by the substantial steps he's taking with upgrades at the Silverstone facility. Rumors have been swirling online, with tweets from Adrian Newey's wife suggesting that she barely sees him anymore, as he's completely immersed in the work he was hired to do. But on the flip side, former Red Bull driver Robert Dornbos believes this obsessive focus isn't sitting well with team boss Lawrence Stroll. According to Dornbos, the Canadian-Dutch billionaire isn't exactly the easiest man to deal with right now, especially given the growing frustrations behind the scenes and the realization that the new regulations still leave a lot of performance on the table. Dornbos didn't mince words, saying, "Lawrence Stroll has this huge aura around him, but at the moment, he's not someone you want to be around." Word is he's absolutely livid because Adrian Newey refuses to get involved with the 2025 car. What's making matters worse is that Stroll is now feeling intense heat from the Saudi Public Investment Fund, who own a significant 20% stake in Aston Martin and are key backers behind the massive $300 million offer aimed at luring Max Verstappen over 3 years. If the team's situation keeps heading south, Stroll could even be pushed towards selling the outfit, a scenario he desperately wants to avoid. Newey, therefore, needs to tread carefully. Being handed the title of technical partner doesn't mean he's running a one-man show. He'll still require the full backing of the engineering team to truly understand the car's behavior under the new set of rules. Diving deeper into the rift between Newey and Stroll, as well as the external pressure from the Saudis, Dornbos explained. There's talk that Newey is flat out saying, "I'm only working for 2026, while Stroll is standing there thinking, "I'm paying you $33 million a year, and I'm seeing a whole lot of friction here." Interestingly, Dornbos also pointed out that despite the tension, the current crisis could actually end up benefiting Newey in the long run. With Aston Martin likely slipping down the constructors' standings, the team would gain much more valuable wind tunnel time, crucial for developing a winning car under the new regulations. It's a smart move in theory, but try explaining to your major investors that you're losing on purpose to gain an advantage next year. It's not exactly an easy sell. Dornbos even hinted that Newey may have anticipated all of this, suggesting he might not lose any sleep if Aston Martin finishes second to last in the championship, given the huge gains it would bring in development time. Meanwhile, the disappointment was plain to hear in Lance Stroll's voice. Despite managing a sixth-place finish in Australia and a ninth in China, Lance has struggled to collect consistent points. When asked about the performance of the AMR25, Lance didn't sugarcoat it, admitting, "Honestly, I don't think the car has any real strengths. We're not the quickest through high-speed corners. We're not the best when it comes to low-speed traction. Maybe we're decent under braking in a straight line, but that's about it." The struggles were highlighted even further in Jeddah, where Lance set an unfortunate record for the most Q1 eliminations in the history of the sport, a grim reminder of just how far Aston Martin has slipped compared to their previous momentum. As I mentioned earlier in this video, the performance gap Aston Martin is facing compared to last year is simply too massive to overlook. Tom Clarkson broke down the numbers, comparing the AMR23 and the AMR24 during the Jeddah weekend. Going deeper into the data, he pointed out, in qualifying, the cars were half a second slower than last year, even after Alonso ran 3 sets of soft tires in Q1. They were still half a second off the pace at this track. And unfortunately, the bleak forecast doesn't stop there. Alex Brundle has voiced an even harsher take, suggesting that Aston Martin has basically given up on the development of their 2025 car. He believes the team realized they hit a dead end, especially with all the internal upheaval, including firing Dan Fallows from his role as technical director. It's now a major question whether Aston Martin even has a clear direction at this point. Yes, the performance figures are alarming, but they've also been dealt another blow. Ferrari has officially won the legal tug-of-war over Enrico Cardil's services. This means Aston Martin will have to wait an extra year before integrating the former Ferrari technical chief into their operation. Expanding on Aston Martin's current position, Brundle said, "Honestly, it feels like the team has already checked out for the season. Just look at it. You've got Adrian Newey locked away in Silverstone, fully focused on crafting the 2026 car. Remember, they're also switching engines next year, moving to Honda. That's a massive project. New power unit, new gearbox. And when you see where they are in the standings, sure, Lance scored a few points, but realistically, it's not looking good." Brundle added that while it might be a bit harsh to say they won't bring any upgrades, the reality is that unless Newey's attention somehow shifts back to 2025, which experts like Robert Dornbos doubt will happen, Aston Martin could be in for a rough ride. Meanwhile, other teams like Williams and Haas are already showing signs they could bump Aston Martin even lower down the pecking order compared to last year. If Racing Bulls also manages a decent weekend, that's another serious threat looming over the Silverstone squad. On top of everything else, Honda is set to step into the conversation regarding the driver lineup. Koji Watanabe has confirmed that Honda's level of influence will mirror what they had during their Red Bull partnership days. All things considered, the situation raises a lot of questions. Do you think the reported tension between Newey and Lawrence Stroll is legitimate? And more crucially, will Adrian Newey's all-or-nothing commitment to the 2026 project actually pay off in the long run? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. And once you're done, make sure to click on the video that's now appearing on your screen.